This is all a bit mad. In the past few hours, Spurs have been linked with Lo Celso, then Lo Celso was off, then Bruno Fernandes, then Coutinho on loan, then Eriksen was leaving, then Dybala, then Lo Celso was back on. I actually have no idea what is happening. I know that Spurs transfers get a bit hectic, but this is unreal. There is less than 24 hours until the end of the transfer window, and I have not got a clue what's going on. Hey, what is up? It's your boy George Achillea back again, this time with some transfer news. We haven't done it in a while, but to be honest, there wasn't enough notable news that I thought was worthy making a whole video on. But in the past few hours, and the past day really, Spurs Twitter has gone mental and there's a huge meltdown over the potential players that could be coming in and leaving for Spurs, and I cannot wrap my head around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this player by player on who we've been linked with and give my honest opinion on whether we, one, need them, and two, what the likelihood of it happening is in the next 24 hours. So first off, we're going to start with this whole Lo Celso saga. This has been going on for a while now. We've been linked with him for the same amount of time, if not longer, than Ndombele, and nothing has yet to happen. Apparently offers have been made and then been rejected. I mean, the player wants to leave and join Spurs from what I've heard, but the clubs can't agree on a fee, and it's all making my head hurt so much. But this is what's been proposed. So Spurs have gone in obviously with the initial like 50 million euro offers, rejected straight away. We've managed to climb up to 60, I think it was, and the club said they're not considering anything less than 70. Now, to think that 10 million euros is what, like just between 9 and 10 million pounds, that is almost nothing for a club of our size. So it's a bit annoying that we're not willing to go that little bit extra just to secure his signature. But then it continues. Apparently the deal was off, even though Lo Celso agreed personal terms, and he didn't turn up to, I think, 2 or 3 of their pre-season games. So it looked like he was out the door a couple of weeks ago, but then he returned and was in the side for the squad last week, I believe it was. Then we put an offer in for 65 million euros, and now I'm just thinking, okay, look, you've made up 5, you tried to meet them halfway, they're still saying no. Just meet that extra 5. What is that, like 63 million pounds? Come on, man, the player is worth it, especially if Eriksen leaves, but we'll get onto that in a second. So yet again, the rumours are that the 65 million euros have been rejected. Real Betis was supposed to have a game today, and he has been left out of the squad, and there's a lot, no, I'm talking about a lot. There's been a lot of reports coming out that we finally managed to agree a fee with the club and obviously the player, and it's all set to be announced tomorrow on transfer deadline day. Now that is huge news. Whether he's going to be Eriksen's replacement or potentially someone to rival Dele Alli for his position, either way it is a great addition to the squad, and I'm hoping and praying that that happens tomorrow. And I would say the likelihood of that happening is probably about a 9 out of 10. Now on to the next one. Another player in a very similar position, kind of an attacking mid, is Bruno Fernandes, the Sporting Lisbon midfielder. Now he had a bit of a saga going on with Man United, but we also had some heavy links with him. Now this is another player that seems to be great talent, would also cost roughly 60 million euros. I'm not too sure on the final price just yet, but it is a very similar situation to Lo Celso. Apparently personal terms have been agreed between the player and the club, but Sporting Lisbon are very reluctant to sell him. Now I think this is looking a bit less likely just because the talks between Lo Celso and Spurs have been going on for a lot longer. They're very similar positions, and I can't see us buying both unless Eriksen is guaranteed to leave. And like I said, I think Bruno Fernandes would cost roughly 60 to 70 million euros. A great player, can go forward. I would say he's probably about an attacking mid, and I think would be another great young addition to our squad. But whether it would spend the money or not, I just don't think it will. I think it all totally depends on Eriksen. So let's talk about him for a bit. So Eriksen's obviously been reported to leave all summer, but nothing's come up yet. His main target being Real Madrid, but Zinedine Zidane came out saying, nah, we don't want you here no more. So that's not looking like it's happened. Then yesterday, apparently Man United came in and wanted to sign Eriksen, and all was looking well until apparently Eriksen rejected Man United. Yeah, Rance, if you're watching this, unlucky, mate. But yeah, apparently he rejected it because it's about having a lifestyle change. It's not all about the money, supposedly. I mean, I imagine some of it is, because otherwise we would have offered him a new contract by now, and I imagine he would be happy. But supposedly the main reason is he wanted a total lifestyle change, move to Spain. He wouldn't move up to Manchester just for an extra 50k, because all the rumours are saying that it would be 250k for Man United or 200k at Spurs if he's to get the new contract. Now, obviously 50k a week is a lot of money, but in terms of a player moving to another club that has Europa League football instead of Champions League, I don't quite think it's worth it. I think he's trying to push that summer move to Real Madrid, which could happen after our deadline. So if we do bring in Lo Celso and Bruno Fernandes, then I'm pretty sure that has secured Eriksen's exit out of Spurs and potentially to Real Madrid or Barcelona or any other suitors. Now, the Barcelona Eriksen link depends on Coutinho, which is another player that Spurs have been linked with, this time on loan. Unfortunately, this was shut down relatively quickly. Coutinho was offered on loan to, I think, Spurs, Arsenal. There's a lot of heavy links between the two. We ended up becoming the favourites to sign him, but I think the Coutinho rumours were just to kind of push the Celso deal a bit more, kind of like how Dybala was a couple of weeks ago. And again, media outlets are saying that he rejected Spurs, this, that and the other, and I feel like there's just a proper agenda against us signing top class players. But the reality is, he said he didn't want to go out on loan to Spurs for a year because he wants a permanent move away. Now, Spurs aren't going to be willing to pay the 120 million or so that Barcelona would want for Coutinho, would rather focus on Bruno Fernandes and Lo Celso, who are realistically younger, have great potential and would cost half the price. So financially, it makes more sense to... We could probably get both of them for the same price we'd get Coutinho. So, I mean, it makes sense realistically. But could you imagine that? We'd have a front lineup of Kane, Son, Lucas, Dybala, Lo Celso, Fernandes, Coutinho, Dele Alli. Eriksen, if he doesn't go, like, it's non-stop. It's ridiculous. So it looks like Eriksen or other players will have to leave to kind of make room for any of them. But the links there are just making my head spin. Now back onto another attacking midfielder, another centre forward. It is Dybala. We were linked with him a couple of weeks ago. It was like a shock move. I tweeted out that I wasn't happy about it. Now, I want to make things clear. It was nothing to do with Dybala himself. I think Dybala's a great player and I would love to see him at Spurs, and that is a huge statement signing. My issue was, and technically my still issue is, we got rid of Trippier. Foyth is now injured. Aurier is apparently free to go. That leaves us with Cole Capitas at right back. We have no options for right back. A lot of Spurs fans were complaining about how we were so weak on that side because Trippier made us poor last year. Well, I'm pretty sure having no right back makes us even weaker. And at the time with Dybala, the money we were talking about was like 90 to 100 million for him. I was saying that that was a waste of money because we need to clearly strengthen right back as well as attacking mid. And if we spent 90 or 100 million on Dybala, there is no way we're buying anybody else. But with the way transfers are going now, if we sign a good right back and two great attacking mids and so Eriksen in Lo Celso and Fernandes, I think that is a huge success. Dybala, I think, is less likely to happen. There's a lot of stuff about his image rights. Man United obviously tried to get him a couple of days ago and that fell through because they couldn't afford him. So I don't think we'd be able to afford him, which means I'd give this rumour about a 3 out of 10 realistically. His image rights are owned by another company, would have to do a deal with them as well. So, and I'm pretty sure he's an Adidas athlete, so Nike can't even help us out on this deal. And it's going to cost us a lot of money, which for me, as great as he is, I'd rather shift that in buying two great attacking mids and sort out our right back issue. Now, talking about right back, who can we get? Atal, if I pronounced that right, is the Nice right back. He's been the strongest link, I'd say, so far. Decent player. I don't know too much about him. I can only go by off of the research that I've done on some analytics pages and some reports on what kind of player he is. But to be honest, I don't know too much about him. I think he'd be a good replacement, but there hasn't been any strong connections. It's just been the biggest link we've had so far for right back. I would love to have him here. I would love another option of right back, but I'd say the rumour is at a solid 5 out of 10. Now on to a fullback / winger that could actually happen and is looking like it's going to happen. Young Ryan Sessegnon. We were linked massively with him back in January, but for a whopping £50 million. Now luckily Fulham got relegated, so that price has been slashed entirely and we're looking at about 25 27 million pounds for Ryan Sessegnon. Now this is where there's a lot of confusion. A lot of fans think he's just a left back and it would be a replacement for Danny Rose. That is not true at all. He is actually predominantly a left winger or left midfielder and had played left back for Fulham in the Championship when he got the Young Player of the Year, I believe it was. But he doesn't just play that. I think he's a good option to have for left back in case Rose, Davies or whoever's injured, or if Rose leaves. But what I would love is for Rose to stay, we get Sessegnon, and Rose train him how to become a great left back, because that's what happened with him. Rose came to us as a left winger and got moved to a left back, and he did that position brilliantly and still does to this day. But realistically, Danny Rose is 30 now, he's moving on. I'd love for him to teach the youngster how to do left back, but if not, that provides us another option for left wing or left mid, which means Son could push up front and be a striker for Kane, meaning we don't need to sign a new striker. Sorts that one out. It just gives us a lot of options on the left hand side, and I think this transfer is pretty much secured. So you're looking at a transfer deadline day of Lo Celso and Sessegnon, pretty much guaranteed. The rest, heavy links, but hopefully they will happen in the next 24 hours. Okay, I know that was a lot. That was a lot of information, but that was a lot to take in over the past few hours. News has been going crazy. Spurs Twitter has been going crazy. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it is at George Achillea. Same on Instagram. Huge announcements coming soon. This has been your boy talking about the transfer news for Spurs lately, and I shall see you tomorrow, the deadline day, when it closes at 8 PM, and we know who's going to be in that Spurs shirt next season. COYS Spurs!
No, there ain't no stopping us. Fly without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I be moving fast. Call me a shooting star.